So it's been a long project, but the off-grid golf simulator with game room and arcade games is finally complete. Let's go check it out. Well, so here it is. Total dimensions of this thing turned out to be 16 feet wide and 24 feet long to this wall, and then another 4-foot deck on top of that. We've got 50-inch Roku TV here. Log in whatever streaming system you use. You can also put that right onto the projector up here, as I mounted HDMI cables so I can plug into that route down to here to all my golf simulator here iPad that goes to the projector to go onto the screen. Got golf club racks here. There's my set of clubs, and I've got another set back here for juniors, and then men's right-handed, men's left-handed. A little fridge, the bottom freezer in here, just a place to hang out for the guys. We've got Mortal Kombat 2, one of my favorite games when I was a kid. Also Street Fighter 2 as well, 4-player NBA Jam, Golden Tee, a classic, and I'll leave links to where you could purchase any of these games as well. Actually, in fact, I have a PDF you can download that goes into all the equipment I used, everything from the solar equipment out here, which we got the EG4 Flexboss18 inverter, the 14.3 All Weather EG4 lithium battery. That all feeds this main breaker box here, which feeds everything. But I'll have a list with links where you could purchase any of this stuff if you're looking to do it. I ended up going with the Mevo Gen 2 radar-based golf simulator, though it does have a camera as well that helps with reading putts, because the radar-based systems really don't do very well when it comes to tracking putts, so it has a camera on it. So you just use a separate ball. So for your long shots, anything that's not putting, you use the Titleist RCT balls. And then if you putt, you just have to use a different ball. So I'm just using it's a tailor-made distance ball, not too expensive, 20 bucks, 25 bucks a dozen. Anyways, it's been working great. This is the hitting insert I use from Carl's Place, which I believe it's about 80 bucks. It's definitely nice. Again, I'll leave links to all this in that PDF that you can download for free. I cut in some putting cups. Also leave links to where you can get these. They're actually really hard to find, but I did find a place that has them. But they are cut in. They're about 1.25 inches deep. So yes, the ball really does roll and sit inside them. So you can work on your putting in here if you'd like. I went with the Carl's Place DIY simulator enclosure. It is about 13.5 feet wide by about 9 feet tall. I've got about a 1.5 foot of space, roughly, or a foot on each side. And I've got a switch here that I'm actually going to put some LED lights that'll plug into that outlet. So this switch controls that outlet, and I'll put some LEDs that'll make the whole perimeter kind of glow. It'll just give a neater look, especially when the lights are turned down. Because when you are playing with the simulator here and the projector on, you really want to dim the lights. So I put half and half lights. I can dim them. And then I've got track lights here that I can turn on. So even if I turn the lights all the way off, I got my door open here, so let me shut the door. There, now you can see what it would look like. So the screen's obviously much brighter now, but you can still see where you're hitting. Get the lights back on. So why did I go with the Mevo Gen 2 radar-based system? I was thinking about going with Square initially, but a couple things with Square. One, it was sold out everywhere and nobody knew when it was going to be back in stock. So some people said maybe late December, some people said not till February. So I wasn't going to wait that long. If they can't keep it in stock, then they're not getting my business. And they also won't answer emails at Square, and you can't call them. So I'd rather go with somebody I can get a hold of. So I went with the Mevo Gen 2. The cost of that thing's about $1,300 right now. I will have a discount code in that PDF or in the description. Check the description of this video if you want to check that out. But I went with a radar-based system because, one, it can sit behind the ball. If you have enough room, you need at least 8 feet from the hitting insert to the Mevo Gen 2 there. But since it sits behind the player, instead of one of the camera-based systems that sit right next to where you're hitting, if you have lefties, which my wife is a lefty, my brother's a lefty, you have to move the camera-based system over every time and make sure it's lined up straight. That's a pain. I didn't want to do that, so I did go with the Mevo Gen 2, so lefties can just step right up here and hit without an issue. I went with this Money Putt putting turf in here, which I'll have a link to in that PDF as well. And then I went with some little longer grass here to make it look like kind of a fairway to a green kind of look in here, which I really like. Plus, they only make this in a 15-foot section. So I was going to be a little short on each side anyways. I didn't want to have to seam it, so I just thought it'd look cooler by going with that. Kind of a little fringe look. And just got a little bit of wall decorations here. Scotty Scheffler, number 1 in the world. And then his mug shot from when he got arrested, which was a hilarious situation. Then we got Rory, and of course you got to have Tiger Woods up there as well. So yeah, that's really it. I'm not even hooked up to the grid yet. I still haven't even connected. It's basically I have the grid as backup power. I'm not using it to power this thing, but it is there just in case if there's, you know, a long, whatever, 3 or 4 days of heavy rain and we go through the 14 kilowatt hour battery, which this whole system, everything in here uses barely any power. I mean, the lights are about 200 watts when they're all running. The projector doesn't hardly use anything. I think it's probably around 100 watts. So really when everything's on, I'm probably running around 400 watts. And then if I turn the mini split on, that can push around 1700, and I'll have a link to that. I actually ended up going with, I was originally going to go with a 12K BTU. I ended up going with a 24K. I wanted to go a little bit bigger and have it run a little easier than having to push so hard, especially in Texas here when it's 110 degrees. So went a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to be happy I did, but it uses a little bit more power when it runs, but I'd rather be cool or warm if it's snowing outside. So yeah, I got these little bar stools, which were excellent deals, really inexpensive on Amazon. I'll link to those as well. Obviously arcade machines, and these chairs I got for a really good deal on Amazon as well. They were put together in about 5 minutes. I mean, so easy. I'll link to those. Also, I put this coffee table in because I don't want people kicking over or stepping on the radar-based Mevo Gen 2 there. So I think that was a smart idea. I think it'll hold up a lot longer with a bunch of traffic in here and people if that's under there. I also got this little desk on Amazon, which is pretty cool. It can actually lower or raise. I could just hit that button and then you can see it just kind of goes down. It's a pretty neat feature. I think I'm going to keep it all the way down actually, because when a lefty is in here, you do feel a little claustrophobic, even though you're not going to hit it, but I feel like I'm going to. So if I put it all the way down, it feels a lot less claustrophobic with that right there. I ran an HDMI cable, like I said, up from the projector. It's kind of hard to see. Let me turn off the lights here. Maybe that'll make it easier to see. Yeah, so I ran an HDMI cable, a regular 120 volt outlet up there, and then that HDMI cable comes down to this little outlet box. And then I run everything off an iPad. So one big reason I liked going with the Mevo Gen 2 was no subscription fees for 8 golf courses here. And they're all real golf courses. So you got Kapalua, Kiowa, Pelican Hill, which I've played in California before. Torrey Pines is a real popular one. Valderrama, Whistler. So that is completely free when you buy this Mevo Gen 2. And it does putting as well. So a lot of systems these days really don't do putting, at least the less expensive ones. So I wanted the whole experience. I wanted to be able to putt, chip, full swing, have actual real golf simulation in here. So I highly recommend it for that. And man, if you actually pay for these subscription fees at these places or these other units, they're astronomical. They can be $400 to $700, $800 a year. So I didn't want to pay monthly. I can't stand monthly payments in perpetuity forever. I mean, it's great for the business, but not for the consumer. So this unit, I have those 8 courses, and you don't have to pay a connection fee either if you want to get GS Pro, which is the real popular one. Then you could play, I don't know, thousands of golf courses, every course you can think of, you can play on there. But it's $200 a year for the GS Pro, roughly. I think it's $200, or maybe it's $250 a year for GS Pro. But a lot of units, if you want to add that to it, they also pay you a connection or charge you a connection fee of another $200. So for GS Pro, if you want to add that, you're looking at $450 a year for a lot of these other units that are on the market here for these radar-based and camera-based golf launch monitors. With the Mevo Gen 2, there's no connection fee. So if you want a GS Pro, you don't have to. You could have these 8 courses and play on those the rest of your life without paying anything. But if you want to add GS Pro, you can do it for just the cost of GS Pro software, which is that $250 a year. So you can add that. For me, this was the best bang for my buck for just wanting to play simulated golf. Are there other units out there that may be better if you're like a swing coach and you want all of the data, which actually there's a lot more data you can get on this than just what is provided, which is all the normal stuff you'd want: yardage, spin rate, carry distance, rollout, lateral spin, backspin. I mean, it tells you launch angle. It tells you all that for free, but you can also get a lot more data if you want to pay a one-time fee. I think it's $400 to $600. But again, I'll leave a link to this unit. I do highly recommend it. If you want left-handed, right-handed, you want to be able to putt out, you want something inexpensive without a monthly subscription, this is the unit to go with, in my opinion. And I looked at all of them, and this one is very accurate. So I've been really impressed with it. So highly recommend getting that. When you putt, some people have mentioned like you want to hit from about, whatever, in the center of your hitting insert, but you want to putt a foot behind. I actually found not to be the case. I actually putt towards the front of my pad, which the yellow ball I putt with, and then here's about where I hit right-handed. The Titleist RCT balls for full swings. So I found that to be great. I don't have very many misreads. I do get an occasional misread on putting, maybe 1 out of 10, but I'm extremely happy with it. So being able to putt out on a unit that's not that expensive, that has no membership or subscription fees, done deal for me. So that's all for the project as a whole. I'll do individual pieces, go through a review on the actual everything on the launch monitor as well, so you guys can really see how that works. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're interested in that. So I just launched a separate channel for kind of more golf specific equipment only, and it's called A Little Thin, like you hit the ball a little thin. So just be youtube.com/@alittlethinn. If you want to subscribe to that, you'll start seeing those videos come out here in the next few weeks, going over just everything about the golf equipment, the Carl's Place enclosure that I used, how I built it, all of that kind of stuff. So go ahead and subscribe to that channel, or I'll leave a link to where you can subscribe to that channel if you want to start getting alerts on those videos I put out. But I'm very happy with the EG4 equipment. It's running this place flawlessly, so can't recommend their equipment enough. That's it for now, everyone. Thanks for watching.